It is just the two of us today. Ethan not able to join us. This is a record-setting, I believe, like seventh or eighth colonoscopy in the year to start 2025. I think, is that correct, Grant?
I want to say it's probably closer to 8. Yeah.
Eight. Okay. Yeah. He had a good streak, but then the load management had to kick in, and he was just like, I just need something up there. I need something up there," and had to um wasn't able to make it today. But Grant and I are holding it down. We are live on YouTube. Make sure you, if you got a question or want to chat with us as well, make sure you hop in the chat there. And we got a bit of a loaded show. We're gonna give a update on the state of the NBA playoffs. Game 6 of Nuggets Thunder going on right now as we speak. They're in a commercial break right now, but we've got some the Pacers took care of the Cavaliers, and the Celtics are not fully dead yet. Game 6 tomorrow night. The Warriors are done. We're going to be talking about them in a little bit here, but since we did discuss that the Celtics are still alive, barely, on game 4, excuse me, the Jason Tatum tore his Achilles, unfortunately. That game, it wouldn't have mattered because the Knicks were just making all sorts of shots. Jalen Brunson has established himself as Captain Clutch for these playoffs. I don't think that's a fair or an unfair statement right now, because if there's been a big shot, he's hit it. And I also did not know that his dad is also an assistant coach for the Knicks and played in the NBA.
That's the first I've heard of it. Normally, you'd hear best player on an NBA team, his dad's an assistant coach. That would be common knowledge, but new information to me.
Yeah, but the Celtics blew the doors off the Knicks last night to make it 3-2, which sets up probably the biggest game in Madison Square Garden history since probably the '99 NBA Finals. The potential to have be hosting a game in Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since 1999 on the line. And we've been on record of this show that the Knicks are a New York team that we don't entirely despise. When you watch games on TV, the Garden, when the Knicks are good, is an experience, a life-changing experience. Just seeing everybody, because it's the only team in New York, in the city, that everybody roots for. Because if you look in the MLB, Yankees, Mets divided, Giants, Jets divided, hockey, the Islanders, Rangers, Devils are close by, all divided here. But there's only one commonality there in the city, and that is the New York Knicks that everybody loves. I don't know if I've ever met a Nets fan, even though they're in Brooklyn now, so you could technically claim them. But there's really there's really no connection there with the to the city with the Nets outside of that they were playing outside of New Jersey.
If you ask me, it's kind of like the Chargers in the NFL. The Chargers will always be San Diego, if you ask me.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I understand their home now is in Los Angeles, and they have that big, beautiful training facility that just opened this last year. That looks amazing, and I would love to go there every day for work. But the Chargers belong in San Diego, and the Nets belong in New Jersey. They belong in Newark, playing at was Prudential Arena. I'm not sure if it's called that anymore. Because we get a new arena name every 5 to 10 years because some businesses looking to pay more money to these teams. But yeah, no, you're right. The Nets belong in New Jersey, and the Knicks truly own that island in New York City.
Yes, and the back to the series here. Tatum is gone. I think the Knicks close it out tomorrow night. I think there was just some little bit of emotion. The Celtics finally got hot and hit some shots. can they do it 2 games in a row? I'm not sure, especially without Tatum. And watching the Celtics, it's so frustrating to me when you watch them and turn the game on because they settle for way too many bad threes. And I think that's ended up being the difference in the game is that there are so many times where they drive to the basket with ease and they just refuse to keep going and trying to do it.
Well, because in all 3 games they've lost in this series, they've had 15-point leads, and they've blown them all. And the common trend, Dylan, to your point, is they start out getting hot from 3. It's like, they're going to win by 20. This is the Celtics team that is probably going to win back-to-back championships here. And all of a sudden, they just get ice cold. When you're up by 12 points, go inside and get the easy 2. But nope, they're backpedaling. We're playing the analytic game. We're trying to not so much make it hero ball, but padding your stats. If you're Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Peyton Pritchard, it's like, guys, just don't sit behind the 3. Go to the lane, get a foul. This Knicks put the Knicks in a bad spot where some of their best players have foul trouble, where they're down by 10 points. Cat has 3, Bridges has 3, Josh Hart has 4. Make them uncomfortable, and they just don't do that.
Yeah, and with Tatum being out now, and it was just reported last week that the Giannis said that he's going to explore options of getting traded here, and the Bucks aren't going to trade him to the East. And I think the way that the Celtics are constructed right now, because it did, like you said, Grant, it looked like they were about to be kind of that next Warriors dynasty team that was about to have multiple championships or 2 championships in 3 years. And now with Tatum out, Horford's probably going to retire. Drew Holiday is gone. Porzingis is going to be gone. New ownership, which they already have like a $500 million payroll, I think I read. And if you're Giannis, I think you got to be looking back and thinking, he's got 2 years left on his contract. This is wide open for me. I have the opportunity here that this opens back up if we can sign a couple more pieces, because where you go to the West, you've got the Wolves, you've got the Nuggets, you've got the Thunder, you've got the Lakers that aren't going to go quietly. The Mavericks, they just got the number 1 overall pick in Cooper Flagg. They're going to be a solid team. I mean, I just named 6 right there. Memphis, if they can, well, I think they promoted their assistant coach, if memory serves, right?
Yeah, who was the interim head coach?
Yep. Memphis which I mean, maybe that just saved them is that decision to promote the assistant. But Memphis is a solid team. I'm trying to think here. The Clippers are a good team.
Clippers. Did you say the Nuggets?
Yep. I said the Nuggets right away.
Okay. Yeah. You got a young up-and-coming San Antonio team.
Houston.
Yep. You mentioned Houston. You mentioned Oklahoma City. Like you said, Dallas getting the first pick now. There's no room to breathe in the Western Conference.
And as you saw, that there's a 6 seed that's going to be playing in the conference finals, in the Western Conference Finals again.
And that 6 seed was the 3 seed last year, and they missed out on the 3 seed again by 1 game. So it just shows how competitive this conference is. Night in and night out, you got to bring your A game, and if you don't, you're 1, not going to be making playoffs, and 2, you're going to be facing a team that you don't want to play right away because you struggled to start the year.
Where you go and you look at the East right now, I think the Knicks are going to be a force to be reckoned with, but they're still the Knicks. They still got to close out Boston. They're not going to be as good as what they've been without Jason Tatum and just having Jaylen Brown and Peyton Pritchard. I mean, outside of that, there's a lot of question marks, especially with the roster and kind of their cap situation. Milwaukee's got to be right there. Indiana's good. Cleveland's good. Orlando, this is a prime opportunity for Orlando to sneak in and have an impact.
Strike.
So you look at either situation and realize like his best opportunity to go win now or even get to a finals is probably still in Milwaukee.
Staying in Milwaukee.
So that game 6 will be fun tomorrow night. And then like I said, we got Nuggets Thunder going on right now. Nuggets are leading 37-34 with 9 minutes to go here. And I don't have a whole lot to talk about with this series other than I'm going to go on record and say that the Nuggets have the worst uniforms in all of pro sports. Like, I don't know what their colors are.
Does Denver know what their colors are?
I don't think so.
Like, what happened, Dylan, to the color scheme and the uniforms they had when Carmelo was there?
Those were nice.
And the white. How great were those? Those are awesome uniforms. And now, some nights they're wearing the deep Crayola blue with the yellow that says Mile High City Basketball on there. Tonight they're wearing white uniforms that says 5,280 with a rainbow pattern in that.
Gay.
Extremely gay. It's like, can you guys make up your own mind right now? Like, what happened to the uniforms that they had when Carmelo was there? Because those were very nice.
Or even the ones that they had before he was there, because at least you knew what you were getting with their colors.
Was that the black and red?
I think it was like navy blue and red.
Okay.
I gotta look here.
But yeah, they are truly just awful right now. And that's another thing that kind of bugs me about the playoffs right now, Dylan, in the NBA. Why are teams all of a sudden pulling out 18 different jersey combinations? That's what the regular season is for.
These ones.
Oh, yep. Those are the ones I was thinking of. Yes.
I stand like this one also isn't a bad one.
That's not a bad one.
That's probably their best one, but the rest is just too much. Because the ones they had before the ones I first showed you, and their City Edition ones back in 23 weren't terrible either. Because at least it was a clean color scheme.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's just insufferable. Like the ones that they had back like when Dikembe Mutombo played with like the rainbow and like the mountains in the background. That not a great one.
No, it's not.
But it's honestly a miracle that they won. It's honestly a miracle right now that they won a championship with how awful those uniforms are.
Mm-hmm. It just adds to Nikola Jokic's legacy.
It's true. He battled through some awful uniforms to win an NBA title.
Uniforms to win an NBA title. How many people can say they did that?
Not many.
Not many.
But a team that's looking for their first NBA title is a team that they could be playing in the conference finals. The Wolves took care of the Warriors last night after a abysmal performance after game 1 where Chris Finch ripped them. We came on the show here after game 1 and ripped them and said that was pathetic and they need to take care of them. And they responded. I mean, outside of game 3, it never felt like in game 4 or game 5 or in game 2 for that matter, that the Wolves, they played like they were the better team. And Julius Randle, DiVincenzo, Conley, all those guys that you need to play big in these playoff series, they did. The Warriors, I don't, and Steve Kerr, I'm just so sick of. I don't want to hear him talk about, well, if Steph wouldn't have been injured, we would have. I think we would have. I'll stand on. You guys were saying when on Ethan's bachelor party that if the Warriors and Wolves play, the Wolves win in 5. I was leaning more towards 6 just because I respect the championship pedigree that the Warriors have, and I thought that would be enough for them to steal, get 2 games. But after Steph went out, I thought it's got to be Wolves in 5 or the Warriors are going to win in 7. And it was last night was kind of where they were finally, it felt like they finally were able to put them away. And I think Steve Kerr did a great job. I mean, he coached his tail off and did everything he could with the roster he had. But, when your second, probably your best player is a guy that you couldn't even play against the Rockets, your chances of winning that series are not going to be great. And tip your cap to Kuminga because he did play well. He stepped up when they needed him. But after game 1, Buddy Hield was nowhere to be seen. Jimmy Butler, the big talker that he is, was nowhere to be seen talking about everything about the everything that went down in Minnesota. You could tell the Wolves. I don't know if you could tell, Grant, but the Wolves fans still don't like him too much.
You know what? I thought I heard a collection of boos every time he touched the basketball. I thought that's what I heard.
And back to the Steve Kerr thing, talking about if we were injured, we would have had a shot. I don't want to hear the excuses from Steve Kerr about injuries because if you go back and you look at their 4 championships, the first one in 2015, Kevin Love gets it separates his shoulder against the Celtics. Kyrie's kneecap breaks in half in game 1 of the NBA Finals, leaves just to LeBron. The second year, game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, the Spurs are up 22 against Golden State. In Golden State, as our good friend Skip Bayless likes to call him, Zaza Pachulia steps under Kawhi Leonard's foot and sprains his ankle. Kawhi's out for the year, or out for the series. Warriors win. This third one, where the Rockets, who had the best record in the NBA in 2018, were up 3-2. Chris Paul pulls his hamstring. Houston goes like as cold as Antarctica in Game 7 of that series. Golden State and Houston had Golden State on the ropes that series, and I feel like there was an injury to somebody along the way.
Was it Capella? Did Clint Capella also get hurt, or is there someone else you're saying?
No, I'm trying to think though. Like when they beat the Celtics in 22, I feel like did Jamal Murray tore his ACL.
Jamal Murray got hurt he got hurt the year before in was it 2021, and couldn't come back or played. Or he hurt his knee in the bubble.
Yep, I remember that.
He missed 2021, and I think he came back and missed Game 7. To your point, in 2022, Dylan. Because I saw this. Yeah, I saw the meme today about. I don't want to hear Warriors fans talking about, oh, it's a shame Steph got hurt. We have injuries. Where, to your point, Kevin Love, Chris Paul, Kawhi Leonard. Kyrie Irving, when he dislocated his kneecap in Game 1 against those guys. And then Jamal Murray was on the ground. I think Jamal, I think because the Warriors lost in the play-in in 21. They lost to, I can't remember who it was to. But
was it LA?
It was LA.
It might have been the Lakers.
It was the Lakers. Yes, it was the Lakers. But then I think in 22, Jamal got hurt in Game 6 or 7, and then missed that series. And then did Ja Morant did Ja get hurt too in the semifinals?
He might have, yeah.
Am I thinking of someone else? Yeah, I think Ja got hurt. and then they took care of Memphis in like 5 or 6 games.
It,
And
which
in the
is this
conference
is great
finals that
radio, by
year,
the way.
and in the conference finals that same year, also, I think Luka had a bad back and a bad shoulder on a Dallas team that shouldn't have made it past the first round.
Yeah. Because they beat the Nuggets in 22 in the first round.
Okay.
But that was without Jamal Murray.
Yeah, there you go.
So, but the Wolves, I mean, they definitely heard, and the urgency that they had from game one on, you could tell that was something that's not going to happen again. And right now, as this stands, this feels like it's going to be a knockdown, drag out war between Nuggets Thunder, and it's going to go the distance. It's going to go 7 games here,
Yeah.
and which I think that does favor the Warriors, especially. Well, it doesn't really matter who
The Wolves.
who the Wolves are going to have to, because they've proven that they can go on the road. They have not lost. They've lost 1 game on the road this year, or in the playoffs so far, to the Lakers in game 2. But other than that, I mean, they almost feel like they're more comfortable playing on the road, which I guess we can't really say because they've only lost 2 games this playoffs so far.
Well, yeah, but Dylan, also go back to last year on the road. Even last year, they only lost 2 games on the road.
Yeah.
Remember, beat Phoenix in game 3 and 4, got up 2-0 against Denver, lost game 5 there, but won game 7 on the road, only lost game 3 last year in Dallas. And then this year, to your point, they almost play better on the road in the playoffs. So in these last two seasons, you got what, three road playoff losses?
Yeah.
That's how you win. That's how you win a lot of basketball games.
Before, because they lost game 5 in Denver last year.
That's right.
But I also think that, you know, you look at a guy like Julius Randle, which we said before the Lakers series, that his knock is that he's fallen off in the playoffs. He has stepped up big time. He's been kind of their catalyst. When Ant was struggling, he has kind of picked it up along with, Jaden McDaniels had a really good game last night. And the Wolves defense was so good throughout this series. And why I said that, I think the Wolves were going to be able to win in 6 games just because of their defense. And you go back, there were, in each of the 5 games, I think they forced like 2 or 3 shot clock violations each game. And they did such a good job of where they would force you out on the perimeter and defend the entire half court to where it was, you'd use up the whole shot clock and force them to take bad shots. And then in game 1, they didn't offensive rebound, or they didn't box out and gave up 17 offensive rebounds. They shored that up. I don't know, maybe counted 10 offensive rebounds the rest of the series. It wasn't much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to your point, I think that's just the immaturity side of the Wolves. And they've had 2 games like that this series, or in this playoff run. Game 2 against the Lakers, they set back. You go into that game, I think they thought they were tough shit. Hey, we got 1. We'll go back home 1-1. We don't need to be here. Hey, it's whatever. We got a revenge against Luka. And then game 1 against the Warriors, after the Warriors just had a brutal battle with the Rockets, coming in 2 days rest, you fly from in a span of however many days, they flew from Houston to San Francisco, back to Houston to Minneapolis. And to play 3 basketball games in that stretch, the Wolves, they're just too confident and cocky and arrogant, and it caught up to them. Like I said, that's just the immaturity side of them, and that's them having to learn to grow up and know that when you're in the playoffs, you can't take anyone lightly. But when they've locked in, they've been fantastic, like you said, and it's gonna be hard for any team to beat them when they are locked in and when they're playing their best. And when four different players can win you a game so far this postseason, that's huge because they're not relying on just one guy solely.
And they didn't settle for jump shots like they did in game one. They went and attacked the basket and kind of let the threes come to them where didn't feel like they were forcing them games 2 through 5. And I didn't get to watch any of game 3, but watching games 2, 4, and 5, they were much more aggressive attacking the basket, sunk in. Rudy, when he had, I mean, you talk about a guy that does a lot on the stat sheet or that doesn't show up in the stat sheet. That was him this series is, this, and especially in game 5, he had a big game scoring offensively, but I mean, he was a lot, and I thought he was a little bit more aggressive where he wasn't trying to just lay it up like he was games 1 through 4. He actually just went and dunked it with some authority in game 5 to kind of give him that exclamation point and close it out.
Yeah, without a question. And like I said, it just goes back to you've had games where Jaden McDaniel's been the superstar, Randall's been the star, Gobert won that Lakers series. When Ant needs to take over, you feel like he can. It's a good problem to have where you have, and then Conley's good for a couple big threes each game. DiVincenzo, when he can get hot, he might be the X factor.
How about that dunk he had last night?
Oh my God.
I did not know he had that in him.
Yeah.
I was like, is it? Which is also a new development. I don't know if you saw, Grant, but apparently gingers are also like black now. So maybe that was the blackness in his gingerness.
Well, Blake Griffin kind of has that same thing a little bit too when he was younger.
No, but they're saying like full-on gingers are like considered black now.
Really?
Yeah.
That is interesting to say the least. That's very interesting. But yeah, DiVincenzo, he's going to be like the X factor going forward because if he can get anywhere between 13 and 15 a game, I like their chances going forward.
Yes, for sure. And also though, back to so I think we have to call them Ginges now. I think that's how that works. Yeah.
All right, I'll allow it.
Okay. All right. Well, that our next episode is going to be preview potential, or actually will probably be depending on when we record next week, discussing the conference finals, whoever the Wolves play. But moving on here, the NFL schedule was released last night, and I frankly I didn't even watch any of it because everything was basically announced before, and I think they just need to go back to like you wake up one morning, oh, the NFL schedules are out, because I just didn't care. Like I lost interest.
And Dylan, I'm with you. It was better 5, 6, 10 years ago when they said, okay, Wednesday night at 7, turn on NFL Network, and here it comes. We're going to release all the Sunday night games, all the Monday night games, and go by division. But now, on Monday, they're like, oh, the Chiefs and Chargers are going to play in Brazil. And then Tuesday morning, Dallas is going to open the year against Philadelphia. And then they're getting so desperate, they're like, Wednesday afternoon at 3:30, we're going to have the Bills and the Bengals playing each other on Fox for America's Game of the Week on Week 14. It's like nobody gives a shit about that. Is that going to be a great game? Yes. Am I going to tune in to watch? Absolutely. But you don't need to be posting that on social media on Wednesday afternoon. It's just not necessary.
Yeah. I overall, what are your thoughts on the Chiefs schedule? How do you like it? How do you like it set up for them?
Kind of have to take a deep dive into it, but it's interesting They got Denver week 17 at home on Christmas. So that means your last two games of the year for sure are going to be division opponents. Not sure if it's going to be the Chargers or if it's going to be the Raiders to end the regular season. But if it is the Chargers to end the regular season, catch this, Dylan. Week 1, they start playing the Chargers in Brazil, Chargers home game, and then they come home week 2, home opener against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Ooh,
So
that is juicy.
Big start to the year. So that means
America's game of the week. No, they actually play the Raiders in week 18. They'll play the
Raiders
Chargers in week 15.
Okay. But still, week 15, 17, and 18, 3 division games in 4 weeks to end the year, especially when it's cold in Kansas City. 2 of those 3 games are going to be at home with them playing the Chargers. I guess I don't know when they play the Raiders, but
they play the Raiders
when they play the Raiders first. Excuse me.
Week 7.
Okay, but yeah, I guess honestly, Dylan, besides some of these games that I'm seeing them talk about on, singling out on social media, I haven't taken a deep dive into the Chiefs' schedule a whole lot. I know they got I think the Lions on Sunday night football, week 6, so that should be a fun game. But yeah, we shall see. But the big takeaway for me, start of the year, you got Chargers, Eagles, back-to-back weeks. You're going to have a good training camp, and you're going to have to be sharp and focused because you're getting 2 good, big, strong, physical teams to start the year. And if you're not ready to play, when your conditioning level is not good, it's a tough way to start the season.
It is. And the Cowboys actually sets up somewhat okay. It's a tough one starting against the Eagles, but you never know. The Eagles could be coming in riding on their high horse. We've seen Nick Sirianni maybe feel himself a little bit. Maybe he gets a little bit overconfident. Cowboys can sneak one in. Not a lot is known about them. Then they get to play the Giants. That's going to be a win. Then they go to the Chicago and the Bears. We're going to see how improved Caleb Williams is in year 2. Then in week 4, they play the Packers at home on Sunday night. And at some point, they got to beat that stupid-ass team in Green Bay because I'm sick of losing to them. And then they get the Jets, win. And then the Panthers win. Then they get a tough one at playing the Commanders at home. And that's America's game of the week on Fox. And then the Broncos, Cardinals, Raiders, it's not an easy schedule, especially because you're playing the AFC West.
AFC West, 3 playoff teams.
3 playoff teams, and I think the Raiders are going to be a much improved team just because they're going to be a much better coach team, and they're going to be able, the way Pete Carroll plays, where they're going to run the ball and take pressure off the quarterback. You're going to have that's the other part is you're going to have a better coach, better quarterback play with Pete Carroll and Geno Smith. That's a given. So the defense also is going to be better as well. So there's no easy out in the AFC West.
And when you play the Raiders this year, that game is going to be so much shorter, where you might only have the ball for 27 to 28 minutes. You have to capitalize.
And I could see Dallas starting like 4-2 and then just completely falling off, because the other issue is they also have to play the NFC North. Like, could you play two worst divisions, like the 2 best divisions in football, probably?
And also the NFC East, with them having to play the Commanders twice and the Eagles twice.
Yeah.
And also, one thing I forgot to say with the Chiefs schedule, this ties into Dallas too. I've been waiting for them to get a Thanksgiving game for a long time. I thought, with the Chiefs' success recently, going to 5 Super Bowls in 6 years, winning 3, and even go back these last 10 years, being one of the most consistent teams in the NFL, going to the playoffs, winning division titles. I was waiting for them to get a playoff game, and for them to get a playoff, excuse me, Thanksgiving Day game, and for them to get a Thanksgiving Day game in Dallas, it's kind of a perfect storm. It's Patrick's first start in Dallas, where he grew up. The Chiefs and Cowboys only play once every 4 years. Great following, great fan bases on both sides. It's 3:30, I think, on CBS. Uh, CBS cannot be looking for a better Thanksgiving Day game than what they got right there. So that'll be that'll be a lot of fun to have. And also, Dylan, no one's going to talk about this. Talk about a great uniform game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Dallas,
You know what I
in the
hope
home
they do
white.
is I hope they break out the those old jersey. I don't know if you remember. I think it was back in it was the Miles Austin coming out party game back in it
Oh
would have been
yeah,
in
yeah.
09 where they the Cowboys wore their old throwbacks with the white helmets. The Chiefs wore their original jerseys where they had the state of Texas on the side of
hmm
their helmet. Maybe that's one that they bust out for that one.
I would. That would be kind of cool. That would be fun. Like you said, the cow. It's what the blue with the white star on the shoulder.
Yep.
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about. I could see that happening, and I kind of hope they do. Because
So
if there's a proper time to pull out a retro jersey from the 40s or the 30s, it's Thanksgiving.
it's Thanksgiving.
Like when the
Well,
Lions
that
wear
was
their
cool. Like how they always used to do that is
yeah.
where everybody would wear their throwbacks when they would play on Thanksgiving.
Okay, so Dylan, another random great jersey game. Uh, Thanksgiving 2010, Patriots in Ford Field. Patriots with the Foxborough red,
The
with the
Patriot Pat.
Patriot hat with the white helmet, and the Lions with just the silver helmet, all blue top,
Yep.
and I think the silver pants. Awesome jersey game.
Oh yeah. Or the when the Colts wore their throwbacks with the horseshoes on the back. Yep.
Yes, yes, yes.
Another good one, which would have been sweet, would be if like the Cowboys were to ever play the Broncos on Thanksgiving, and the
hmm
Broncos wear their old orange
Orange
Crush
Crush.
jerseys. Yep.
Yeah. Speaking of the Orange Crush jerseys, it's kind of a shame. Like last year when they wore 'em against the Chiefs in Week 18, awesome uniforms. I mean, those things they might be the best uniforms in the NFL. You're not going to hear me say many good things about the Denver Broncos, but that Orange Crush uniform with that blue helmet is awesome. It's a shame they wore it that game. Like it really wasn't a meaningful game for the Chiefs, and it showed because Denver won 38-0. But like, if Denver could pull that out on a Sunday night home game against the Chargers, or they're playing the Raiders at 3:30 on Sunday, that would be the time to pull out the Orange Crush uniform, and it would be
Yep.
awesome.
Yeah. I also have a spicy take about the NFL schedules here.
I'm all
And
ears.
going back to Thanksgiving because now there are 3 games on Thanksgiving here. This is going to be a hot take. And I don't say, Grant, you saying nice things about the Denver Broncos. I think that the Thursday night game should permanently be a home game for the Packers. That night game at Lambeau Field kind of kicks off December football. When you think of football, you think of the Ice Bowl. You think of, I think it'd be a tremendous way to honor Vince Lombardi, honor Lambeau Field. There's something about that game because, I mean, last year when they played the Dolphins, but, a marquee matchup at Lambeau Field to end Thanksgiving night, I think would be a phenomenal idea.
Dylan, can I take that a step further? I'm going to be extremely biased here to the NFC North, since of course, live in Minnesota here.
Oh, I know.
All
I think I know where you're going with
all
this.
four NFC North teams should play on Thanksgiving. It should rotate between the Vikings and Bears traveling to either Detroit or Green Bay. To your point.
Oh, I like this. I like
Yep.
this.
And then also, I don't want the Cowboys. It should always either be a division opponent, or every 4 years when they play the AFC West, they should play the Raiders.
Yeah, that's a good call too.
Mhm.
That's
But
not
yeah,
a bad
all
idea.
all four NFC North teams play every year on Thanksgiving, and the Vikings and Bears alternate who's the road team in Detroit or Green Bay.
Okay. This is, I mean, we just solved like we are making things happen here on this show. So
Because
Roger, if you're
because
listening, we've got good ideas.
because Dylan,
And most of
hear me
them
out.
are fairly dumb ideas, but I think this one is
This is
actually
good.
like
This
a
is a good
legitimate,
idea.
serious idea, like a great idea.
Because Dylan, hear me out. It's November 25th, 2025, or we'll go 2026. Okay, next year. The Lions are playing home against the Bears and Caleb Williams. You know, we have that game, Ben Johnson going back home, yada yada yada. But then Thanksgiving night, when you're getting ready for a nap, Dylan is starting to think only about Ohio State and Michigan. Um, but he needs a little relaxer. We got JJ McCarthy in the Vikings and the all whites, the icy whites, going in to play the Packers at 7:20, and you're going to listen to Tirico and Collinsworth before you go to bed on Thanksgiving. Can it get much better than that?
Nope. With a winner gets a turducken. Oh,
Winner gets a Turduncan.
can you say America?
And you know
This is
what?
how we become a proper country again.
And you know what, dude? You know what you do at halftime? You know what? I'm gonna go upstairs. I'm gonna get a little turkey thigh, get a little dark meat action, maybe some pumpkin pie. And you know what? I want some ice cream. Why? Because it's America and I'm free and I can do whatever I want. So bring on the dessert.
Bring it on. That's right. That's right. We're solving problems here on the Three Guys Talking Ball podcast. And we're
Mm-hmm.
going to wrap up the show here with Curveball of the Week, as we have been on the topic of discussing food here. And my Curveball of the Week question is going to be I'm going to maybe piss our friend Jenna off with this one, but I feel like there's sometimes questions that you can repeat because we've been doing this show for 3 years now. So taste buds change, mood changes, opinions change throughout the years. So this is probably one of the first questions I asked, but we're going to go with here. What is like kind of your go-to snack or go-to like cheat meal that it's like something that's a little bit underrated that nobody would think of. I've been told Grant Hy-Vee has a great Asian lunch, Asian cuisine lunch here. Is there something like that you would that you're going to, or like do you have a go-to snack? Actually, let's say a go-to underrated meal and a go-to snack.
So, to your point, go in to get a high chai for lunch. It hits the spot.
What's it called?
It's called high chai. You know, Hy-Vee Chinese food, high chai.
Oh, okay. What
But
is it? What's all on that? Is it
so you
like
get
is it like a full on like Panda Express, or
yeah,
is it like
it's like a Panda
you
Express.
get
You
your
can go in.
choices?
You get your choices. Yeah, you can get just a bowl with just noodles and rice and one protein on top. You can get a one entree meal where if you just want beef and broccoli with some lo mein, you can do that. If you want beef and broccoli and orange chicken with lo mein and an egg roll, you can do that. They also have some egg drop soup. So it's kind of like a small Panda Express where you have options. You have chicken, you have beef, and you have pork you can choose from. Um, so a good high chai is hard to beat, especially the one down in Mankato. Oh my God, that one is fantastic. But a meal that's kind of underrated for me, anyway, Dylan, and now let people talk about it. We actually just had it last night because Ashley, Alex's new girlfriend, for about 2 months now, she came. Actually, Jenna came over. Alex's parents, Ashley was over last night. We were all watching the game, having dinner. But a good lasagna. We had
Ooh,
lasagna last night.
that's what I had for supper tonight. My
Yeah,
mom
it
made
was.
some my sister came home
Mhm.
over the weekend, and on Saturday after church, that's what we had. This was an all-time like meal combination here is lasagna and fried chicken.
Now that is a combination I hadn't heard of before, but I can get on board with that. But yeah,
And it
no,
was delicious.
lasagna is just, the noodles, the cheese, the ricotta cheese, the ground beef, the Italian sausage, whatever. That's really good. And I had two huge pieces, and it was like a five-layer lasagna, Dylan. I mean, the piece it was
Oh,
it
hell
was
yeah.
probably it was probably 3 inches thick. But God damn, it was good. And I will say
So
this:
so 3 inches, Grant. So you're saying it's 3 C's thick?
3 C's thick. Yes, it was thick with 3 C's, and then also um, to top it off for dessert, Dylan, just a good chocolate chip cookie.
Oh, you know me. I'm a slut for a good chocolate chip cookie.
Just a good chocolate chip cookie. And it goes back to like we've talked about before. That's just some good comfort food.
It is. It really is. And what do you got for like your go-to snack lately?
Recently, dude, I've been on a Boom Chicka Pop or Angie's Kettle Corn, as we call it, being from Mankato. Just um, the purple bag is just kind of this caramel corn or the sea salt, sweet and salty. Just a kind of a big kettle corn kick recently.
Okay.
Yeah.
The I was gonna say the we had that popcorner. We had that stuff at
Oh,
Ethan's
yeah,
bachelor
those pop.
party. I had a few of those. That was pretty good here,
That's good.
but lately and I don't do this very often because it's not very healthy at all, but it's so good. Is you take jalapeno cheddar Cheetos and you dip it and top the tater
Oh
French onion
shit.
dip.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that the inner fat child and a lot of people come out there,
Yep.
and that would be
Yep.
delicious.
Dude, it's so good. It's so good.
And also,
And
Dylan, also like I told you, like I said, Ethan's bachelor party. I don't care if it was 8:30 in the morning. You give me a good cheddar sour cream ruffle because ruffles have ridges, and I will smash that whole bag.
yes. The that was good, or the cast clay French onion dip and ruffles is a tough combination to beat as well.
Okay.
But that, and then lately is I've just discovered this is at Walmart. If you go and get their sweet and spicy chicken sliders are hard to beat. I've discovered.
Okay. Interesting.
They have them sitting there, and I was at Walmart this morning. I looked, I was like, and I decided to sleep in instead and not have breakfast. And I was like, dang, that looks good. I just had one. I probably could have had about six of them because they aren't very big and they are
Mhm.
delicious. You don't even have to put like mayo or anything on, or Miracle Whip or anything on it. I think a good thing to probably put on there would maybe be some pickles, but
Ooh.
but the sweet and spicy buff or chicken sliders at Walmart were do slap, as the kids would say.
Hmm. Or another one that kids like to say these days is like they're just like, "Yo, bro, that's tough.
That's tough.
That's tough."
So, but I think that wraps up this week's episode. The PGA Championship is underway, and it looks like we got some no names that are leading it. Here, I forgot we didn't even get a chance to discuss that. I got to see where like our guy Spieth is, who we could see we could potentially see another Grand Slam champion here. We're just gonna see where right now is Vegas is leading at -7. Our guy Scotty's -2.
Mine's two. Because where are they at this week? Where's it at?
Quail Hollow.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
And I am Keegan Bradley's -3. Good for him. Let's see here. Finau -1. DeChambeau's even. I am not seeing Spieth anywhere. Kepka's +4. That ain't a good look.
That's a
Spieth
that's a bad
+5.
start.
Not a good day.
Not a good day for Jordan.
No, he's got his work cut out for him. He's got to find his way back after about 12 strokes to see if he's able to find his way back and try and help close out the closer out. But that wraps up this week's episode of the Three Guys Talking Ball podcast. We'll be back next week. Make sure you like, rate, subscribe, review 3GTV podcast, wherever you get your podcast. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.